There's a moment every man faces when you sit back in the quiet of your own mind and ask yourself, do I really understand women, or am I just surviving through confusion, heartbreak, and silence? Young men today are lost, not because they don't have money, not because they aren't working hard, but because they are emotionally starving. You scroll through social media, and everywhere you see people telling you how to get women, how to keep women, how to impress women. But deep down, you're not looking for tactics, you're looking for truth. You want to understand their behavior, why they say one thing but mean another, why they pull away when you're at your most vulnerable, why they test you even when you've given them your heart. This isn't about blaming women. This is about reality, about pulling back the curtain on human behavior so you can stop doubting yourself, stop chasing validation, and finally see women as they truly are. Because the moment you understand, you stop being needy. You stop being angry. You stop being lost. So today, I want to give you 8 facts about women's behavior, not to make you bitter, but to make you wiser. Because a man who understands women is a man who understands himself. One of the hardest truths for men to swallow is this: women will test you. They will question you, challenge you, sometimes even push your buttons until you feel like walking away. And if you don't understand why this happens, you'll think she's just being difficult, disrespectful, or ungrateful. But here's the reality. Her testing is not rooted in hate. It's rooted in a deep biological and emotional need for safety. For centuries, survival depended on a woman's ability to choose wisely. She needed to know if the man beside her could protect her, lead her, and remain calm under pressure. That instinct hasn't disappeared just because we live in cities instead of jungles. Today, the protection women seek isn't always about physical safety. It's emotional safety, mental stability, and spiritual grounding. When she questions your decisions, she's not necessarily doubting your intelligence. She's trying to see if you believe in your own choices. When she teases you or challenges your opinions, she's not looking to embarrass you. She's looking to see if you can stand firm without becoming aggressive or defensive. Understand this: if you crumble every time she disagrees with you, if you get angry every time she pushes back, she starts to feel like the ground beneath her is shaky. She begins to lose trust. And when trust is gone, attraction soon follows. But if you hold your frame, calm, confident, unshaken, she relaxes. Because in that moment, she sees a man who cannot be easily moved. A man who can handle not just her storms, but life's storms. And that, deep down, is what women want most: to feel safe enough to let go of control, to rest in your strength, and to trust that when chaos comes, you won't collapse. So the next time she tests you, don't see it as an attack. See it as an invitation to prove, not to her, but to yourself, that you are stable, consistent, and grounded. When you stop taking her tests personally and start seeing them as opportunities to lead, you'll stop being frustrated and start earning her deepest respect. One of the greatest frustrations men face in relationships is the difference between how men and women communicate. Men are fact-driven. We say what we mean, and we mean what we say. But women often speak from the place they feel, not the fact that exists. So when a woman looks at you and says, "You never listen to me," the inexperienced man instantly gets defensive. "What do you mean I never listen? I just listened yesterday. I heard you out last week." He brings logic to an emotional battle. And in that moment, both sides lose. Because she isn't accusing you of being deaf all the time. She's expressing that right now, in this moment, she doesn't feel heard. This is why so many men walk away from conversations shaking their heads, saying, "She doesn't make sense." But what she's really saying is, connect with me emotionally, not logically. Women live in emotional reality. That doesn't mean they're irrational. It means they're tuned into how things feel more than the exact detail of what was said or done. If you ignore that, you'll always clash. But if you learn to translate feelings behind the words, everything changes. For example, when she says, "You don't care about me," don't argue back with a list of things you've done for her. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what is she really feeling right now? Maybe she feels overlooked. Maybe she feels unimportant. Maybe she feels distant from you. And the best response isn't to debate. It's to reassure, to connect, to listen with presence, not just ears. Here's the truth. Women don't remember every word you say, but they remember exactly how you made them feel. If she consistently feels dismissed, she'll slowly disconnect. If she consistently feels understood, she'll trust you with her heart. So, the next time you hear a sweeping statement, you never, you always, don't take it as an attack. Take it as a clue, a signal pointing you toward what her heart is really asking for. Because a woman's words are not always a dictionary definition. They are windows into her emotions. And a wise man doesn't just hear the words. He reads the heart behind them. This is one of the hardest truths for men to accept. You can do everything right on paper, and still, she won't feel anything for you. You can have the car, the career, the money, the muscles, the status. But if she doesn't feel you, she won't stay. Because for women, attraction is not a checklist. It's an emotional current. Men tend to build value in linear terms. If I earn more, look better, speak smoother, then she should automatically want me. That's logic. But women don't fall in love with logic. They fall in love with how you make them feel. A woman might meet a man who looks perfect on the outside, but something feels off. He's stiff, insecure, or emotionally absent. And then she meets another man who isn't as rich, isn't as polished, but his presence makes her feel alive, seen, safe. Guess who she chooses? It's not unfair. It's human nature. Women crave emotional experiences the way men crave physical beauty. When you understand this, you stop obsessing over impressing her and you start focusing on being present with her. Because the truth is, women can sense your energy before they even process your words. If you're anxious, she feels it. If you're trying too hard to prove yourself, she feels it. But if you are grounded, if you're comfortable in your own skin, she feels that too. And that emotional vibration is what draws her in. Think about it when she says, I just wasn't feeling it. She's not lying. She's telling you the truth. Attraction isn't always logical or explainable. It's emotional. And you don't create that emotional spark by bragging about what you own or begging for her attention. You create it by living fully in your own truth, by laughing without fear, leading without arrogance, and being deeply present in the moment. So stop asking, why doesn't she like me? I have everything she says she wants. Understand this. What women say they want and what they actually respond to are often two different things. She may list qualities on paper, but her heart responds to energy. The man who understands this stops chasing approval and starts focusing on becoming emotionally alive. Because when she feels you, not just sees you, you don't have to convince her to stay. She chooses to. Every man wants to impress a woman. That's natural. But here's the truth most men don't want to hear. Women are not moved by your one-time fireworks. They're moved by the steady flame you carry every single day. In the beginning, it's easy to show intensity. You text her constantly, you buy her flowers, you plan big surprises. She smiles, she feels good, and you think you've won. But here's where most men fail. They mistake the high of intensity for the power of consistency. Grand gestures fade quickly if the daily behavior doesn't match. Flowers on Friday don't mean much if you ignore her on Monday. A romantic vacation doesn't mean much if you disrespect her during arguments. Women are pattern seekers. They don't just watch what you do once. They watch what you do repeatedly. Consistency is what tells her, this man is reliable. This man won't disappear when life gets hard, because love at its core is not built in the highlights. It's built in the daily habits, the small things you do over and over. The way you listen when she's tired. The way you remain calm when she's emotional. The way you show up the same man in public as you do in private. Understand, this women don't need you to be perfect. They need to know who you are every single time. If you're gentle one day but cruel the next, she can't trust you. If you're committed one day but distracted the next, she can't feel safe with you. Inconsistency creates insecurity. And insecurity kills attraction faster than anything else. Think of it like this: intensity gets her attention. Consistency earns her heart. Because passion without stability is just chaos, and no woman wants to live in chaos. So stop trying to impress her with big, flashy moments and start showing her through steady action that you are the same man in every season. Because any man can buy roses once. But not every man can show respect, patience, and stability over years. And that's the truth. Women fall for consistency, not intensity. Because consistency is what transforms love from a spark into a fire that never goes out. Here's a reality most men overlook. The woman beside you is not just responding to what you say. She's reflecting who you are. Her tone, her softness, her respect, even her willingness to follow your lead often mirrors the energy you bring into the relationship. If you're bitter, angry, and always on edge, don't be surprised when she becomes distant, defensive, or cold. She is not creating that out of thin air. She is reflecting what you project. If you live in chaos, she will act chaotic. If you are calm and grounded, she will slowly relax into that stability. Women are emotional mirrors. They absorb and respond to the climate you create. This is why two different men can get completely different sides of the same woman. With one man, she's argumentative and closed off. With another, she's nurturing, loving, and peaceful. It's not that she changed. It's that the energy she's receiving is different. Many men make the mistake of demanding respect while living without self-respect. They want her trust, but they don't live with integrity. They want her peace, but they themselves are restless. You can't demand what you don't embody. A woman cannot reflect stability if you bring nothing but instability into her world. This is why self-mastery is non-negotiable. If you want a woman who is kind, feminine, and trusting, then become the man who creates an environment where that version of her can thrive. Your presence should feel like an anchor, not a storm. Ask yourself, when she's around me, does she feel safe to be soft, or does she feel forced to protect herself? If she's constantly in defense mode, it might not be because she's difficult. It might be because you're giving her a reason to stay guarded. The truth is, women naturally mirror masculine energy. If you're leading with confidence, purpose, and emotional control, she will reflect that with respect, support, and warmth. But if you lead with insecurity, anger, or fear, she'll mirror that with resistance. So stop asking her to change and start shifting your own energy. Because when a man transforms himself, the woman in his life often transforms too. There's a difference between being wanted and being chosen. And until you, as a man, understand that difference, you'll always struggle to hold a woman's heart. When you want a woman, you desire her body, her beauty, her presence. That's physical. That's surface. Any man can want a woman. Men want women every day, everywhere. But when you choose a woman, you go beyond desire. You make her feel like she is not just another option, but your decision. And that decision carries weight. Women are highly sensitive to this. She knows when she's just being used to fill a void, and she knows when she's truly being valued. When a man only wants her, she feels like a temporary high. But when a man chooses her, she feels secure enough to open herself fully, physically, emotionally, spiritually. This is why so many men lose good women. They confuse lust with love. They say the right things in the heat of passion, but their actions show indecision, half-hearted effort, or wandering eyes. And a woman can sense it instantly. She doesn't need you to be perfect, but she needs to know you see her as irreplaceable in your world. Choosing a woman doesn't mean giving up your freedom. It means exercising strength in commitment. It means saying, out of everything I could have, I see you. I choose you. That's what makes her lean in. That's what makes her respect you. That's what makes her soften and trust. Understand this. Women are not afraid of competing with other women. They are afraid of being invisible to the man they give themselves to. If she feels like she's just another option in your rotation, her soul will never fully surrender. But when she feels chosen, she gives you a level of loyalty, softness, and love that cannot be bought. So the question isn't, do you want her? The question is, have you chosen her? Because in the end, women don't just want to be desired. They want to be decided on. And until you make that distinction clear, she'll always hold back the deepest parts of her heart.